Hello, and welcome to our DogBizPro help video series. In this video, we will be explaining how to schedule already created classes. To start, you would just want to navigate to your training module by clicking on the module dropdown and selecting Training. Once you're inside of your training module, you can either click on the Calendar tab in order to schedule right from your calendar, or you can click on the Classes tab in order to schedule right from inside of your classes page. Explains scheduling right from inside the calendar. So again, you would just want to click on the Calendar tab, and that should bring you to your training module calendar. Your first option would involve right-clicking on the date you're interested in scheduling on, and that should open up a drop-down menu. From this drop-down menu, you just want to click on Schedule Class, and that should open up your Schedule Class window. As I mentioned, you have another option for scheduling. Your other option would be right from the Schedule button here. If I was to click on that Schedule button, it would show that same schedule drop-down, and again, I could choose Schedule Class from that drop-down. That should open up your Schedule Class window, and from inside of this window, you'll be able to actually set up your class. The first area showing inside of this window is the Type dropdown. This will allow you to set up the class as either a regular class, a mini class, or a modularized class. Regular class and mini classes both share similar logic. These class event types have a set start and end date, and typically these classes will close registration once the class has started. And that means no new clients could actually register for that class. A modularized class, on the other hand, allows you to do more of a drop-in style enrollment for this class. This means clients can choose their own start date based off a list of upcoming scheduled occurrences. With modularized classes, clients have a start and graduation date based off the number of required sessions and when they had registered. Once the client has graduated, they would no longer appear on that class registration list. So, depending on how you wanted to set up this class, that would determine which type you'd want to choose. For this example, we can just choose the regular class event type. Next, you will see the public, repeat, and all-day checkboxes showing. If you want this class to be available to the public and you want it to appear in the client registration portal, then you'll want to make sure that this public checkbox is checked. If you were to leave this empty, then that class would be considered private and it would not appear on the main registration portal. And only clients with the direct registration link could actually register for that class. So again, if I didn't want this class to be public, I could actually uncheck that box, and again, that class would be considered private. For this example though, we'll go ahead and leave it public. The repeat checkbox will allow you to set up this class to repeat. The all day checkbox will allow you to make this class run an entire day rather than off a set duration. Next is the title text box. This will determine the actual name of the class. I recommend you actually select the class in question from the class dropdown before you actually choose a title, as that information will populate over once you choose a class. So again, I would just want to choose a class first, and if you notice that title and that cost actually both populate over for me. If you for some reason wanted to change this title or the cost, you're able to do that from inside of this window as well. So let's say you didn't want this to be called Class A, you could just click on that title text box, make your change, and again, it would actually update that title for you. As I mentioned, you can change the cost as well. If you wanted this to cost $100 instead of $10, you could add an extra zero, and again, it would now be set to cost $100. The next section showing inside of this window is the Session Details section. These details will show on the client registration portal if a client attempts to view more information about this selected class. So if you wanted to add any additional information about this scheduled class, you could go ahead and do that from right inside the Session Details section. So we'll just go ahead and add test there. Next, you can assign a specific location for this class and an actual instructor as well. Inside the next section, you'll notice there's a canceled, full, and closed checkbox showing inside of this window as well. You likely won't be using these when scheduling a class, but if you ever wanted to edit a class, you'd be shown this same window, and these checkboxes would allow you to mark the class as full, closed, or canceled. The next area showing is the repeat dropdown. This dropdown will determine how often that class is set up to repeat. So if you wanted that class to repeat daily, weekly, or monthly, you could go ahead and do that from this dropdown here. Once you have chosen a repeat option, you're also able to choose how often it actually repeats. So if I want this to repeat every 1 week, every 2 weeks, I could make that change here. You're also able to set the actual start date of the class, the starting time of the class, and the overall duration of the class. Again, this duration will populate over from the admin settings of the class that was selected, but you can change it here if you want. Lastly, you can set up how long you want this class to repeat for. The Repeat Indefinitely option will repeat this class until it is manually ended. The Repeat Until option will allow you to repeat this class until a specific date that you have chosen. The Repeat Until Times option will allow you to repeat this class X number of times. So if I want this class to have a total of 5 occurrences, I could choose 5, make sure that's selected, and again that would be set up to repeat a total of 5 times. Once finished, you can click Save to actually schedule that class. Once you have actually scheduled that class, you should now be able to see that class showing on your training module calendar, inside your Classes tab search, and in your client registration portal. If I wanted to navigate to that class's specific page, I could click on the class in question, click the Go To Page icon, and again it would take me right to that specific class page. Hopefully that helps and explains how to schedule a class.